Chapter 3. A Sombre View, Delicate Reunions, The Beginning. The large vaulted chamber glowed with a faint light due to the immense circular object at the centre of the room. It rotated in an ever-so-slight motion, sharing with all who gazed into it an awe-inspiring image. A lone person stood before it, a speck amidst the awesome sight. The viewing chamber, as it had been aptly named, gave one a total perspective view of an entire universe. This universal image swirled in its massive multiple-angled display, taking up most of the domed room. A multitude of white dots and colourful shapes gave way to the vastness of this particular piece of existence, for this was the original, the one that set the standard for all that came afterward. The figure peered through the mists of clouds at the near infinite number of coloured specks which represented the stars and other celestial objects. She had been here for some time, searching, looking for particulars that only meant something to her and no one else. They just would not understand, she thought. No one would. She knew she should not be down here. It ate at her, tearing at her heart as she tried to find some kind of peaceful resolve from her personal conflicts. It had been difficult to concentrate on her job as of late, knowing the former part of her that was missed elsewhere. She longed for what she had, yearned to go back and be what she was before, but couldn't. It was forbidden. Even through all she had endured with these many years, she wished for just one more day to go back and be with the ones she loved. "Oh, Sienna, I did not know you were here," called a voice from the entryway. Sienna turned, startled from her daydream of mortality. "Brianna, my child, is it time already?" she replied, trying to play off her alternate mindset. Brianna smiled. She thought Sienna was waiting for her, ready to help in the grand task ahead. Rushing down the small steps, Brianna approached her friend with eager anticipation biting at her heels. Sienna watched, noticing the exuberant amount of excitement emanating from Brianna's younger stature. "My dear, you must at least calm yourself before you are to begin," warned Sienna. "It is a long, tedious task that sits before you. Gather yourself and give yourself the opportunity to release your energies before you start." Brianna nodded. Closing her eyes, she took in a deep breath and then slowly exhaled. She could feel the excess energy flowing out of her. There were many times she found herself feeling too excited about the tasks she was given, whether she was helping lost souls to their final destinations or cleaning up the messes from battles with demons and other evil entities. She still got excited over being needed by the higher good. Brianna opened her eyes once again, feeling peaceful and relaxed. She looked at her friend who had noted her calmer demeanour. "That's better. Are you ready to begin?" "Yes," Brianna replied. "I am ready." Peering over Sienna's shoulder, Brianna gazed at the phenomenal sight beyond. She had only seen the viewing chamber a few times before, when others had come to monitor events that were happening among the many facets of existence. This was to be her first time monitoring things by herself. Sienna guided her over toward the object at the centre of the room. Brianna sat at one of the chairs before the massive display. She glanced around, familiarising herself with the places she needed to observe and the beings that were to carry out her plans. "So, what is your first objective?" asked Sienna. Brianna waved her hand toward the top of the universe. The earth shimmered into view before them, overlapping the colossal image behind it. Sienna's eyes glistened, feeling the emotions of old pulling at her core. Just looking at the global image brought back the painful truths of what she once was, long ago. Her heart yearned with every breath as she averted her eyes, trying to fixate on something else. "I have picked my hero, and I shall start him on the quest as soon as possible," said Brianna. Sienna patted her chest, anxiety telling her to find an excuse to leave. "Good," she replied, her eyes fluttering with emotion. I'm sure everything will work out fine. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must hurry along. I've so much to do." And without another word, she rushed out of the room, leaving Brianna alone and confused. Worry began to rise within the blonde angel upon the hastened exit. Sienna was not one to leave in such a way, abandoning someone when they needed her the most. Brianna turned back to the image of the earth. "Am I not prepared enough?" she asked aloud to no one in particular. "Have I made an error before I've even started?" She had spent most of the day choosing the one who would lead this imperative undertaking, but now, with Sienna seemingly troubled and abruptly leaving, she wasn't so sure. The old feelings of doubtful uncertainty floated through her mind. Brianna had to remind herself not to let those things dictate her life anymore. Drawing in a deep breath, she eased her energies once again. "What was that all about?" came a voice from the entryway. Brianna looked up, her face instantly relieved by who it was. Rising from her chair, she rushed toward the figure. "Oh, Uriah!" Brianna cried, throwing her arms around her friend. Uriah cringed from the overabundance of affection that engulfed her. Sighing in defeat, Uriah slouched, her violet eyes giving away her feelings of forgiveness. "All right, enough already," she replied, leaning away. "People might start to talk." Brianna pulled back to look at her friend. "I'm so glad you have come," she stated happily. Uriah frowned. "Yeah, well, I guess I can't stay angry at someone who has no idea how to gloat," she teased. "Besides, who else can I get away with torturing around here?" Brianna smiled again, knowing that she would not have had it any other way. The two walked toward the centre of the room. Brianna sat down again, her determination rising up to the image of the earth in front of them. "So this is it?" Uriah asked. Brianna nodded, waving her hand as if turning the page to a story that was unfolding before them. An image of a young man shimmered to the foreground. His dark brown hair was short, making his blue eyes stand out into a striking stare. His broad-shouldered body formed perfectly around his torso, which led to his muscular legs below. Uriah stared at the image of the man, curious about his confident prowess. "That's him," she added. "Yes, he is the one." "Interesting," said Uriah, her eyes flashing a rose colour. "Why him?" Brianna sat back in thought, a slight tinge of red forming to her cheeks. "I wanted someone who was confident in what they did," she replied. "He is not afraid of anything that is put before him. His heart is honest, his mind breathes strength and determination into everything he does. It was hard not to choose him on just those things alone. He never lets his emotions interfere with his tasks and takes great care and consideration towards others. He is a living testament to everything I need to accomplish." Uriah grinned. "So it's not that you have feelings for him or anything?" she teased again. Brianna's cheeks reddened even more at the realization of her words. "What? What do you mean?" Uriah laughed. Brianna had no clue as to the cruelty of the trick that she was playing upon her, nor was Uriah about to tell her. She just considered the air between them even. "Nothing, just making sure your focus is on the task," she warned. "So, what happens next?" Brianna put her hands together as the tips of her fingers began to glow. A point of light hovered above them, and with a quick flash shot straight at the universal image. Its destination, Earth. "All the events have been set into motion," said Brianna, watching the spark that generated her starting point. "We can guide him, but we cannot interfere with the balance of what is supposed to happen." "Why not?" Uriah asked. "Things will go a lot faster if we just push them along when they need it." Brianna shook her head. "It is an ancient law that was passed down long ago," she explained. "We cannot interfere under any circumstance. The Creator decided that angels have no right to disrupt the stream of life, except him," she nodded to her hero. "I can do everything within my power to help him along, but only he alone can provide the outcome now. If we taint the overall results with our powers, that would be considered a sin, and we would be punished accordingly. We can give our blessings to those around him, but that is all." Uriah shrugged as she turned away with great disinterest. "So in other words, no fun," she replied. "This sounds like it's going to be pretty boring." "No, it's not," argued Brianna. "I just hope that when the Lord of Doom arrives, things won't become too difficult. We'll have to be very careful." Uriah's eyes turned white. That was a name she had hoped to never hear of again. Even the thought of who that was gave her cold chills down the length of her spine. "She's coming here," gasped Uriah. Brianna glanced at her friend, her eyes widening with the realization of her predicament. She had almost forgotten. It had been several years since Uriah was saved from the path of darkness. Though it appeared that she was still dealing with the troubles from her wicked past, Brianna never considered the worst aspect of this whole affair, confronting the one she used to call Master. "I believe so. I am sorry, Uriah. I forgot. Are you going to be all right? Perhaps you should leave when she arrives," suggested Brianna. A multitude of blues and reds intermixed into purples that swirled in Uriah's vision. Her emotions were getting the best of her before she could think this through. She had nothing to fear. She could handle anything that any demon could attempt to do to her. She knew what they were capable of, knew of the deceitful lies that lived within their very cores. Nonetheless, just the notion of coming face to face with the Lord of Doom again gave Uriah nothing but terrible thoughts of herself from long ago. As much as she disliked being an angel and finding her place among the righteous, nothing was worse than being that which does not feel or embrace the light. Hate and fear is what lavishes in the heart of darkness. "No," she firmly replied. "I cannot be afraid of my past any longer. I have to face it, no matter how I feel. I will not let you face her or any other demon alone. I promise." Brianna smiled, grateful for the sentiment. She looked at her friend with admiration. Uriah understood her fears more than anyone did. It was not easy for either of them to face the forces of hell, even after what had happened to them years ago. But they were bonded in a way that no others were. Brianna now realized the importance for them to stick together during such an event. "Thank you, Uriah," she sighed in relief. With a newfound confidence, Brianna turned back toward the universal view. Now, all they could do was wait.